Hey everyone, Sunday, October 19th. Thanks for tuning in to Jeff and Paper Gary. If you're following along with the videos, yesterday we left off on the 6-degree bend of these HS-810 and HS-814 angled brackets, right? And so that's bending these each to 6 degrees. And the instructions called for using a cardboard template for a gauge, a couple blocks of wood, and a mallet to bend these things. So I was kind of concerned with the accuracy, and then it hit me last night as I was thinking this, that when I put these things together and I'm building out the skeleton of the horizontal stabilizer, when I come to connecting those end ribs, I'm going to know real quick if something is significantly out of whack. And so I use that as kind of a litmus test to gauge that everything is okay. But I think we're pretty good here. So I measured as best I could with my digital protractor and verified, and so we'll see how it goes. Today I'm going to continue through section 6, which is the empennage, and working on this leading edge spar. And so that's going to involve trimming some of the material out of these two pieces and creating this bend and putting in these reinforcement plates. So follow along with me and we'll see what happens. Okay, so the Sunday build went fairly well until it didn't. And so you're going to see later on in this video where things started to turn a little bit sideways. But right here, the crucial part of this is laying out the bend line on the flange of these two spars, the left and right front spar for the horizontal stabilizer. And why is the bend line crucial? Well, it needs to measure up with or line up, I guess, with the brackets, the angled brackets, so the HS-810 and the HS-814, that if you watched the previous video, you saw me spending an inordinate amount of time bending those, trying to make them as perfect as possible. Now, the other reason for this is there is a measurement that gets taken from the side and then off that bend line to cut relief holes for the bend of these spars so that we don't crack the material. Okay, so I drilled those holes in there after watching T-Flight's video a few times, and I actually undersized. They say to enlarge it to a quarter. I held a little bit short on the step drill, and it's still pretty concerning, I'll be honest with you. So we'll proceed forward, and when I mate the rest of these things and drill out those holes, we'll see how it looks at the final edge distance. But it certainly is concerning, I'll say that. So it is concerning, and after looking at it, I think that I have in fact gone too far with that relief cut and have made these parts scrap. I undersized them, but even still, I do not reach the 2D edge distance that I think you need for riveting. So when you look at AC 4313, acceptable methods and practices, it calls out 2D edge distance for a single row of rivets. Now, there could be a difference in this one because this is a sandwiched kind of setup, right? So there is the spar itself. On the back side or the aft side of the spar, you have a pretty thick doubler that goes in there. And then on the front side of it, you have your HS-18 and HS-814. Those are really thick brackets that this thing all rivets together. So it might not be necessary to maintain that 2D edge distance. I'm going to call Vans Builder Support and figure that one out. If I'm wrong and it is too close to the edge, I'm just going to have to order 2 new spars and start over. The other part that really threw me for a loop on here, and you're going to see here in a minute where I thought things went really, really bad. When I started to cleco the assembly together, there was a discrepancy, what appeared to be a discrepancy in my bend line between my HS-810 and the flange of the spar. And so I put this all together, and there's a huge gap where these rivets have to go, and there's just no aligning it, right? You can't mash that metal, you can't bend it in there. So I'm double checking things, I'm going back in the video, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong, and I just can't get there. And so, you know, you'll see here in a minute where I come to the conclusion that I simply bent that piece wrong, and I marked it defect and just resigned to ordering a new piece and starting that one over and doing that all again. And so later on that night, Sunday night was family dinner night. I'm explaining this whole thing to my dad, and he can't really get it. So I said, well, hey, come into the garage and take a look at this. And so I get into the garage, and I put this all together, and the problem is gone. It no longer exists. Everything lines up the way it's supposed to. And I'm scratching my head on here. I just can't figure this out. And after a day of thinking, Monday I came home, and as soon as I got home, I opened the garage, I looked in there, and I in fact did Cleco the HS810 one hole off, which is kind of tricky to do because there's a lot of holes in that thing, and you almost wouldn't think that it could line up. But if you get the exact 2 holes that I picked to stick Clecos in, and you're off with 1 hole, it's gonna make this appear like your bend lines don't match and like there's a problem. And I just didn't catch it on Sunday, so we're all good there. The HS810 is still good even after the massive amount of countersinking I had to go do to get that to sit flush on the dimpled flange holes that the instructions call for. So we're all good. This is the point where I realize, or I think, that I messed up and caused a defect in the part. But that's okay. That will wipe off and we'll be good to go. So more later. Thanks everybody for watching. Tune in again. If you like, hit the up thumb. Jeff and Paper Gary out.